Where is everybody hiding? I don't see anybody. Oh, there you guys are. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the RCX program 2018-2019 Hala Island Adventure Challenge. We're going on an expedition. We're going to search for different things on our island. So this year, as you design, construct, and program your robot, just make sure that you are searching for solutions. And hopefully you'll find them somehow. All right. So as we look into this year's challenge, we are on a deserted island. We were flying our plane over to the island and we ran out of fuel on the way, so we had to ditch our plane in the ocean. We get to the island, we have to establish a campsite. And in the process of getting the campsite set up, we find a treasure map. So we go searching for the treasure. All right. So, you guys have got a lot to do this year. There's a lot of missions, a lot of things for you and your students to accomplish. We've got 17 missions. You have to be creative. You have to show leadership and communication skills. Math and science will come through as you design and program your robot. So just know, boys and girls, that when you program your robot this year, imagine you're in a tropical paradise looking for something. All right, the corniness set aside. That's all done. Corniness is over, folks. All right. So, what I want to do is I'm going to explain to you guys as I go through this coaches meeting video. I'm going to explain to you where the mission objects will start, where the mission objects will score, how to place the dual lock in on the mission objects that you place the dual lock. And then just some different things, aspects about each mission object as we go through. Many of the missions and the mission objects are very similar to years past, but in general, the mission objects, you're going to have the kids manipulate, maneuver, activate, lift, lower these mission objects in some way, shape, or form. For the general rules, there's no changes to the general rules. All the general rules are going to be the same as always. No additions, no subtractions, but just follow the general rules. Coaches, empower your students. We need leadership skills with our kids. So coaches, you're responsible to know the general rules. You're responsible to know the missions and what the kids have to accomplish. So just know that coaches, you're the first layer. You need to know the general rules. You need to know the missions. But you need to empower your students. You need to have leadership among the team members. And when it comes to competition time, the leaders, your team captain, they are the ones who are going to talk to the referee and inquire about scoring. Inquire about when a referee doesn't provide the score for some reason. The team captain, the kids among the team, need to know the general rules and the missions so that they can question the referee. For the elementary kids, many times it's a struggle for them to question authority, to question adults. But as a coach, you need to empower your students. You need to teach your students that it's okay to respectfully question the referee at the competition. So just know as you go forward, empower your students and make them a more rounded individual. Okay? First thing we're going to do when we go over the mat, we're going to place the mat out as always, unroll your mat. You can use double-sided tape, you can use dual lock on the edges, whatever you prefer. Just roll your mat out on your board. As you place your mat, as always, the mat must touch, the edge of the mat must touch the north wall, which is the wall by me, and the eastern wall, which both of these walls are common walls for the competition. So the edge of your mat must touch the east wall and north wall. Because it's touching, it may create a gap that's on the southern wall or west wall. So it is okay for there to be a gap on the southern wall or west wall. Just know that if you have a gap, when you go to competitions, that means your board design is different than somebody else's. So as you have the students program your robot, common areas, consistent areas, is the mat surface itself, the north wall, and the east wall. Those three items are consistently common across every board in your classroom at regional tournaments and state tournaments. The mat surface, the north wall, and the east wall are all consistently common. The southern wall and the western wall may have a gap, and you may actually have to cut the mat to fit if your board is a little bit shorter. Okay? But that's it about the mat placement. Okay? If you look at my mat, and as we pan down and look around the mat real quick, you're going to notice my mat has got some in the corners. It's rolled up a little bit. So if you apply dual lock or double-sided tape to the bottom of your mat, I recommend doing that a day or two after you unroll it. Allow your mat to rest for a day or two. Unroll it, let gravity pull the mat down so that it kind of just settles. And then after that, apply tape, double-sided tape or dual lock, and then fix your mat to your board so it doesn't move. That way when you place it against the north and east wall, you don't have to worry about it moving anymore after practice starts for the entire season. We're going to go over the placement of the mission objects in the next section, and then the scoring of the mission objects in the following section after that. Just know that as you look at these objects, make sure you go to the RCX website and review the videos and documents that will complement the coaches meeting video. There are so many documents and videos that accompany this challenge that I will misspeak a number of times. Okay, so if you notice something that I say in the coaches meeting is different than the video that I speak about the mission itself, or the document that accompanies the scoring or the starting location and scoring locations for that specific mission object, bring it to my attention so that I can clarify for everyone to know what is the correct location or action for that mission or mission object. Typically the rule of thumb is that the written document, the paper document, the PDF file that is attached to the web page is the rule that we're going to follow, because I may misspeak in the coaches meeting or I may misspeak in the mission video itself. Typically the paper PDF document is the final word, but again, if you notice some discrepancy, bring it to my attention so that I can clarify for everyone to see. The other thing, coaches, you guys all have good questions. Some of you guys are experienced, some of you guys are brand new this year. No question asked is a bad question. I should clarify. All questions are good questions. I can remember a teacher telling me the only bad question that you ever have is the question that you do not ask. So make sure if you have any questions, you either send me an email, talk to other coaches in your area, but always ask questions to clarify. I'm here to help you. And then the next thing we're going to go over here is, I don't know. I think that's about covering the intro for all this stuff. I want to go over the mission objects next. I forgot. When you program your robot, everybody's asking me questions about how do you program the robot, how do you do light sensors, touch sensors, what have you. There's two ways of doing this. The first and most important thing to do is for you to open up your Lego Mindstorm EV3 set. Once you open up that Lego Mindstorm box, you're going to see all kinds of Legos, and you're just going to be amazed at all the pieces that you can put together. The second thing I need you to do is download the software to your computer. The software from Lego is free downloadable, and it comes in two forms. It comes in for student application, and it comes in for teacher applications. So you have the ability for the students to go in one way and the teachers to go in another way. The teacher edition has additional documents and reports that you can use to follow the performance of the students. But it is key that you first open your box, second download the software. And this can go on your school software, it can go on your personal, laptop, your iPhone, whatever you want, your tablet. It can go on any electronic devices, the software. Okay? So download that, and then have your students go step by step through the tutorials that is provided through the Lego Education software. That step-by-step tutorial will help the students learn how to program the robot. Actually, part of it will show them how to build the robot that comes with your set. But after you build that robot, you want to program it. And there's about 30 or 40 steps in that tutorial to show you and your students how to program that robot to move forward, backwards, left, right, use light sensors, touch sensors, ultrasound. Use that guide to help you very much. And then the other thing, if you go to the RCX webpage, there's two other tutorials on there. One is provided by another student, so that students are basically teaching students how to use the Lego Mindstorm software. The other is Dr. Grammy, which his tutorial is more of a lecture kind of tutorial where he goes step by step, methodically through all those points, teaching the students how to program their robot. Both of them are very good tools for you and your students to use to learn how to program this robot. Because as we program, as we all know, life throws us curves many ways. And these robots like to do things unpredictable as they perform on the mat. So, many times if you go through the Lego Mindstorm software, the student-based training videos, or Dr. Grammy's training videos, all three of them are very good tools for you and your students to use to prepare for this challenge. Good. In front of you, you have the assembled set of mission objects for the Hala Island Adventure set. Each set comes with 42 inches of dual lock. We'll start in front in the safe zone. We have our campfire, our bridge, the scorpion cages, and the fishing net. Okay? As we go around the mat, you're going to notice you need an escape raft. Well, you're going to have to create your own escape raft this year out of your own Legos from your room. As we continue further around the mat, we've got the treasure map object. With the treasure map, we've got our fruit tree and our 3 pieces of fruit. We have our plane crash, the 2 scorpions, our temple with the guardian and the treasure that gets placed inside there on the pedestal. We have our pig, our water supply, and then you'll notice that the waterfall is here with the base and the arm, and then the ball is placed on it like that. Further around the board, you're going to notice the materials that you need to harvest, which is the wood and the rock. We have our volcano, our lava here, so be careful about that one. Over here we got our cave, our oven with its door, which will open and close. And then we have our 6 minifigs that will come with the assembled set. And those are all the pieces for the assembled set. Good. If you receive the unassembled set for the Hala Island Adventure Challenge this year, you're going to receive 7 bags. The first thing you're going to receive is 1 mat, the challenge mat. You'll receive that one. You'll receive bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, bag number 4, and bag number 5. Bag number 6 will come in this Ziploc style bag, and in that you'll have a bouncy ball, the 42 inches of dual lock, and miscellaneous Lego pieces. And just so you know, when you open all these bags and you assemble all of your mission objects, you're going to have a few extra pieces. About 100 extra pieces. So I don't stress you out too much. When you get done, you are going to have extra pieces there that you're going to be scratching your head wondering why. But you're going to have roughly 100 of those extra pieces for you to use in the creation of your robot, mission objects, or however you want to use them. As you look at the mat this year, notice that the safe zone is back in the middle of the board. The dimensions are a little bit narrower and longer, but the square inches for the safe zone is the same as in years past. So we've got mission objects and missions that will be in the ocean, the beach area, around the campsite, and the quad platform. And it's up to you and your team to program your robot, design it, construct it in a manner to accomplish as many of these missions as possible. When you place the dual lock on the mat, you're going to have 42 inches of dual lock. I recommend using a cutting board. If you use a cutting board, you can easily cut the dual lock in 1/2-inch squares because the cutting board is marked to make it simple. So I recommend using a cutting board so that when you place it out here, a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, work really easy for you guys instead of using a scissors, because the scissors sometimes has an edge on it that's a little crooked, and when you place it on the board, it doesn't really match up. So, you know, just go to your cutting board, cut it in 1/2 inch sections or inch sections depending upon which mission object you're using the dual lock for. As you place the dual lock, there's less objects this year that have dual lock than in years past. So you'll need dual lock for your fruit tree, for the treasure map, for the temple with the treasure and the guardian, for the waterfall, the cave, and the oven. And those are the only items that should be dual locked down. Everything else on the mat should be just placed so that it can be moved by the robot at some point. All right? When you place the dual lock on the treasure map, the easiest way to do it is to take and put your dual lock together, top and bottom together, take the adhesive off the back, and place the dual lock over the D and L as it's printed on the map. So for the treasure map, we've got to do this 4 times. And if you can, place the dual lock on the outside edge of the mission object as it's outlined on the mat. And if your pieces are a little bit too big and it overflows into the middle or the center of the mission object, that is best. If it extends beyond the outline of the mission object, the potential for the robot to get caught on it and disrupt the performance of the robot could happen for your team. But you place all 4 of them on there. So all 4 are on the DL is marked on the mat. If you notice, you can put it really nice on top of it. Okay. Now let's go back and take the dual lock off of these 4. And this process, just takes a little time when you don't have fingernails. Takes a little time when you do have fingernails. Peel that off. So as you place the treasure map, notice that the treasure map, the little arm, the lever goes up and down. You're going to place that so it's facing the escaped raft target. Firmly press it in place. Place your treasure map on it as such, and your mission object is set. Okay. As you put the dual lock on the waterfall, you're going to want a strip that's roughly 2 inches long. It'll be as long as this piece here. So you peel the dual lock off the back and you place it on the blue Lego plate. Alright? Then you peel it off, the backing off of that. Alright, so it looks like this. Then you're going to grab a second piece of dual lock, peel off the back. You're going to place that on the Legos, just like that. So you've got a piece of dual lock on the blue plate, and then dual lock on the wall. Okay, peel that off. And then what you're going to do is you got both pieces of dual lock off. You got your arm. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your arm and you're going to place it on the mat. Now remember, the mat was securely placed earlier in this demonstration to the eastern and northern walls of the board. So the mat should be consistently in the same place for everybody at your practice room and at the tournaments. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the waterfall at its edge and you're going to line it up so that the waterfall tip comes to the edge of the blue line on the mat. It does not cover it, it just meets up to the edge. Alright? So what you're going to do is lower it in this fashion here so it's extended downward. Place it on the edge and then gradually put it in place on the north wall of the wooden board. Alright, so now it's in place. You can elevate the waterfall itself and you can put the ball in place. And that's how you use the dual lock for the waterfall. Now as we look at the mission objects for the Hala Island Challenge, we'll start in the safe zone. In the safe zone, you're going to notice 4 mission objects when you start the match. Fishing net, scorpion cages, the bridge, and the campfire. Those 4 objects will be in the safe zone when you start the match. As we pan around the board, we'll just identify the objects. We've got the school of fish. We've got the escaped raft target. Make sure you don't fall off your raft because we have sharks around the target area. Coming over, we've got our dolphins. We've got our tuna. We have our plane crash on line 0. You'll notice line 1, 2, and 3. As we pan over this way, we've got another fish hidden up here on top, one of our jellyfish. We have our treasure map. And again, notice the arm moves up and down, and it should be leveled off with the mat placed on top. We have our scorpions, which are dual lock down. I overlooked one of the trees, which is a touch penalty. We have another touch penalty here. We have our pig, and he's in the muddy bog over here. In front of the pig, we've got our tree, our fruit tree with our 3 pieces of fruit on the mat. And they should be placed in the position as outlined on the mat. As we go up the river, we're going to find our temple. And notice our temple has the guardian, which is placed on the outline. I'm going to move him out of the way for now. Behind the guardian, we have our temple. And on the pedestal, we have our treasure. All right, and the temple is dual locked down. Put the guardian back. As we move to the east, we've got another tree. In front of the tree, we've got our water supply and another tree. As we go further up the river, you're going to notice our waterfall with the bouncy ball, the arm in the elevated position, and the base. As we move around the board, we're going to harvest materials. And notice that we've got the brown to represent wood, the gray to represent rocks, and the orange to represent the lava from our volcano. And just so you remember, the referee will randomly place these objects along this line for each mat. So as you practice for your competition, just know that those 5 objects will be on that line at the form of an L. You will cover up the L, but they'll be on that line for your match. As we come around, we've got our cave, which is dual locked down. Another touch penalty tree. Our oven, which when it's placed will actually have the arm at a 90-degree angle, like that. Okay, but for demonstration purposes right now, I'm going to elevate it. And then we have our campsite. The one thing you will not see on the mat is you must bring to the match your own escape craft. The escape craft is of your design, multiple Legos, but you and your team must design an escape craft to bring to the match yourself. You also must bring your own minifigs. At the tournament, they will not provide minifigs for you. You have to bring your minifigs of any kind of minifig you want. You may use the ones that's in the set, or you may bring your own, but bring minifigs to the match and bring the escape raft to the match. They will not be provided at the tournament. Okay. I just want to explain the minifigs for this year's challenge. When you assemble all the mission objects from your set this year, you're going to have 6 minifigs come with your set. Okay. 5 and 6. Now, also, the pig is considered a minifig. So you technically have 7 minifigs within your set this year. Mission 1, gather the fruit. Each fruit is scored separately, but you are going to be tasked with taking the fruit, and there's 3 fruit, and reposition the fruit to the campsite for a score. Mission 2, the escape raft. Take your escape raft to the target area. Your escape raft must have a minifig. Deliver the raft to the target area. Receive a score for hitting the target. Light blue is a low score. Dark blue is a high score. Okay? The escape raft must be on the target area. Mission 3, catch the fish to survive. Reposition the fishing net to the school of fish, to the dolphins, to the tuna, or the jellyfish. The smaller the fish you cover with the fishing net, the higher your score. The fishing net can be either completely or partially over the fish to receive your score. Mission 4, save the plane from the reef. Reposition your plane to line number 1, line number 2, or line number 3. The higher the number, the higher your score. Mission 5, protect yourself from the scorpions. Take the scorpion cages from the safe zone. Reposition them to cover the scorpions. The cages may be partially or completely covering the scorpion. Each scorpion cage is scored separately. Mission 6, find the treasure map. Take the treasure map from the treasure map location on the small island back to the safe zone for a score. You may catch it, you may push, pull, just activate the arm in any fashion to collect the map and recover it back to the safe zone. Mission 7, capture Pua. Reposition Pua, or the pig, back to the safe zone for a score. Go treasure hunting. Watch out, look for the treasure at the temple. You may receive 3 scores. The first score, move the guardian off the outline on the map. The guardian may be standing vertical or laying flat. Does not matter. Just move the guardian off the outline on the map. The second score, reposition the treasure off the pedestal. The treasure, as long as it's removed from the pedestal, will receive a score. The third way to score is to take and recover the treasure back to the safe zone. So there's 3 ways to score: moving the guardian, repositioning the treasure, and recovering the treasure back to the safe zone. Mission 9, quench your thirst. Reposition the water supply to the campsite. Cross the river. Now the river is roughly 4 feet long. And you're going to take the bridge from the safe zone and position it so that the bridge crosses the river. To receive your score, the bridge must touch the grassy or ground area on both sides of the river. So make sure that both ends, and this is one end and this is the other end, touch both sides of the river. So for some reason, if your bridge does not cross both sides of the river, you would not receive a score. Make sure your bridge crosses both sides of the river. And again, the bridge consists of all the Legos in the mission object, from this end to this end. So if this gray area is touching, but the brown area is not on both sides, you still receive a score because the gray area is part of your bridge. Okay? Play at the waterfall. Program your robot to reposition the arm on the waterfall. The arm must be lowered and the ball must roll away for a score. If by some chance the arm is not lowered but the ball rolls away, there is no score. Okay? The next mission is build shelter. Now, as I mentioned in an earlier part of the video, the materials to build your shelter consist of the rock, the lava, and the wood. There's a total of 5. The referee will randomly place those 5 objects along the line, and when you place these objects, notice how this little hashtag or hash mark comes out of the big line. There's 5 of those little hash marks that come out. Position your material so that it covers that little mark. All right? And then randomly place them along the line for practice. The intent is for you to use a light sensor, a color sensor, something along those lines to be able to read these objects. So as you practice for this, a light sensor should be used to identify the 3 different colors and which object to use, or which object to move or not to move. Okay? Now to score these objects, there's 2 ways to score them. The first way is to just move them off the line. For each object that's moved off the line, you'll receive a positive score. However, if you move the lava, you're going to receive a negative score. Okay? So it's key to develop or design or program your robot to be able to read the different colors so that you don't get a negative score for the moving the lava. Okay? Now, so you can reposition the gray material and the brown material. Try to leave the orange material in its position without touching it. Okay? Now, you can receive a higher score if you wish. You can reposition the materials to the campsite. Again, leave the lava untouched, but for a higher score, if you move the wood and the stones to the campsite, you'll receive a higher score. Okay? For the material harvest, just know that the referee will randomly place the wood, the rock, and the lava along the black line. So each match may have the materials in different locations. Okay? So they'll be up and down this black line, randomly selected. Just remember that the orange lava one is the one, as your robot performs, you do not want to move. All right? The material should be placed on the line in an L fashion so that the L is covered. Just like that. Okay? And that's that. All right.
Okay.
Mission 13, take shelter at the cave. A hurricane is on its way. Deliver a minifig to the cave. As long as the minifig is on the green platform or green Lego plate or inside the doorway, receive a score. Mission 14, cook your feast. Close the oven door. The oven door will start at a 90-degree angle. Program your robot to reposition the door downward to receive a score. Mission 15, establish your campsite. Position the campfire and a minifig at the campsite to receive a score. Mission 16, collect firewood. Reposition all your trees, your touch penalties, to the campsite. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of the trees can be delivered to the campsite. Once the trees are in the campsite, you can no longer, the referee will no longer take the trees as touch penalties. To clarify the touch penalties, The general rule states that when the referee assesses a touch penalty, the referee will pull the easternmost touch penalty as you touch your robot outside of the safe zone. All right? So on the mat, this would be the easternmost. That would be number 1, and we're going to pan all 5 positions. This would be position number 2 for a touch penalty, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Those are the 5 positions of the trees and the touch penalty. So the referee for the first touch penalty would take this one first, this one second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, to help the teams to achieve more points, if a team can recover one of the trees back to the campsite, the referee can no longer take that tree as a touch penalty. So let's assume in scenario here that a team is assessed 1 touch penalty. The referee would take this tree first. The team is assessed another touch penalty. This tree is safe because it's in the campsite. The referee would take this tree for touch penalty number 2 and continue westward across the board. So potentially, if a team was able to put all 5 trees in the safe zone or in the campsite, there would be no touch penalties that the referee could take. And then the final mission is explore the mountain, explore the volcano. I want the students of all abilities to try to go to the quad. So in order to get to the quad this year, there's 4 ways to score. So we'll put my quad here. Teams, and for the definition, this black outline on the mat, anything that is from the black outline inward, including the black line, is considered in the mountain. So as I discuss this, from the outside edge to the corner is all considered in part of the mountain, in part of the volcano. Okay? So I'll put my temporary quad back there. So there's 4 ways this year for you to score at the quad, at the mountain volcano. And that would be, the first way is for a team to take a minifig and deliver it underneath the quad platform. That's one way to score. The second way is for a team to deliver a minifig to the top of the quad platform. The third way to score is to have your robot and place the minifig on your robot and deliver the robot so that it's underneath of the quad platform. Okay? As long as any part of the robot is resting underneath of the quad platform with a minifig, you receive a score. The fourth way for a higher score is for you to take your robot with the minifig and place it on top of the quad platform. Okay? You got to follow all the rules as far as the drive tires and everything to climb on top of it to receive your score. Remember that the robot can be upright on its side or upside down when it's on top of the quad. It must have a minifig. Okay? But just remember, the rule is that, oh, I lost my tire. The rule is that the drive axle, the driving motor, the driving tire has to be on top of the quad to count. So that if the driving tire is hanging over, you would not receive a score. Any other part of the robot may be over, but the driving wheels must be on top of the quad. Okay? So, as we review, we'll just go around the board real quick and go over all the scoring locations of the mission object. So we'll start back in the safe zone. All right? So when we're in the safe zone and we're looking at this from the referee or from the ability to score, in the safe zone at the end of the match, you may have materials, maybe in the safe zone. All right. The treasure map, maybe in the safe zone. The pig, maybe in the safe zone. And the treasure, maybe in the safe zone. Those 4 mission objects may be in the safe zone to score. Okay. As we go around the board, your fishing net or your escape raft for mission 2 must be touching the target. For mission 3, the fishing net may be covering the school of fish, the dolphins, the tuna, or the jellyfish. For mission 4, the plane crash, the plane repositioned to line 1, 2, or 3. Mission 5, scorpion cages, or on top of the scorpions. Okay. The temple, the guardian, has been moved. And you may receive a score if you left your treasure over in this area. Okay. The bridge is crossing the river. For the waterfall, mission 8, the arm is in a downward position and the ball has rolled away. And while we're at the quad, we'll discuss the quad to score. You can have a minifig underneath, on top. If the robot is present, make sure the robot is either under with a minifig or on top with a minifig. If you're looking at the materials, you can receive a score for the materials being nudged off of their mark, and each one scored separately. Just remember, you receive a negative score for the orange. You've got your cave mission with the guy over here seeking shelter from the hurricane. You've got the oven, the door in a downward position. And at the campsite's a very busy site. You've got the campfire, you've got a minifig, you've got potentially the 5 touch penalties or trees, you've got the materials, you've got the fruit from the tree, you've got the water. Is that it? I believe that's it. So make sure that you check all the videos in their correct starting location and ending location as you practice. If there's anything that conflicts, bring it to my attention so that I can give you a ruling as to what is the correct location or construction of mission objects. But just know that as we have gone over the mat, we have just discussed the different missions, their starting location, their scoring location, and a few other things as far as minifigs. Okay? And other than that, check the website for the documents and the videos. Again, make sure that if there's anything that conflicts, bring it to my attention so that I can clarify for everyone. But other than that, enjoy this year. Thank you.